1980 Sony Trinitron KV1913 color portable television. And I think we're at a point where we can say 1980 is actually vintage, and this set looks extremely high hour. This is not like, this is like baked on dirt. But also behind that, the phosphor kind of has, these usually have a very bright light gray phosphor, and this just looks burnt, baked down. The whole set just looks like it was baked. This has some surface wear and corrosion. So it's Trinitron KV1913, has the slide volume control. This was popular in the mid-70s. What's this, the remote sensor? And the controls are on the bottom. This is a lot newer than most of the stuff I work on as far as open. As far as the Trinitrons go, the ones I like are usually the, oh yeah, here we go. What do they call these? Variactor, where you're actually, to tune it in, you're adjusting the voltage. I think the first thing I'll do is maybe Windex it. I don't know, let's pull the back off and look at it. Well, this is interesting. This has actually, like, legitimately got mud in it. Or what it looks like mud. You know, I can't tell. It looks like it's had water inside of it and mud, like, filled. Maybe I need to go get the wheelbarrow and do a shot of this rolling in. Put it on the back of my Chinese motorcycle and bring it across town and clean it all up. Maybe this video will get 35 million views. Help fund the channel on some actual real repairs. So let me pull this out. Let's have a look at this. Has got some of them blue Puke-O-Matic capacitors in it everybody loves. Let's see, how does this come out? Well, it's not bad. There are not many of those light blue electrolytics in here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it does look like it was outside and it got full of mud. It's very, very weird. There are some cracked solder joints here. There are definitely some failed. You can see right here, KB. Will this focus in on that? Anyway, that is cracked. You can actually see it move when you move the board. Yeah, there you can see the crack on the bottom. You can see that. Let's look under the flyback. That actually looks good, like someone redid that. Maybe it's not high hour. It's hard to tell. Look at these convergence magnets somebody siliconed on here. I'd like to test it. Let me see if I have an adapter. I found it. I found the adapter and somebody actually wrote the CRT number on it, 520 RB22. which is what this is. Also, while I was digging around, I dug out this military coat that has permethrin in it, that's supposed to stop mosquitoes. I don't know if it really does. We're going to try it because these mosquitoes are brutal. Now, I probably got this at the surplus store for a few bucks. And I was looking through the pockets and I came across this letter, or the Elevated Society. So this is kind of interesting. I'll put this back in there. I feel I'm qualified to make this statement. The animals of the planet seem to have a most effective life system, which we humans call survival of the fittest. This system promotes population control, productivity, and compatibility of life. Okay, all right, I'm not going to go off on that right now. I'll put this back in there and then we'll test the CRT. All right, here we go. It is a 6.3 volt CRT, so we'll come up here to 4.7. We'll do just under 6.3. We'll turn all of our cutoffs all the way up. Well, that's pretty disappointing. Just give it a minute here. These mosquitoes are absolutely relentless this year, and I've tried looking for any little bit of water, and I just am not. I like working outside because it's nice lighting and you're out in the air, and when things go up in smoke, it's not inside, and the dust and the rat feces and all the other cool stuff we deal with on this channel. I don't. Oh yeah, this tube is dead. That's it. That's the emissions right there. Red is completely gone. Let's go up a little bit higher on the heat. Just a little bit. Now we're starting to see something on the red. Yeah, this thing's garbage. When you look here, you can see some discoloration, but it's really not bad. I'll let this cook on setup. You don't want to let it cook on test because you're just running current through the thing, burning off what left is there. I'm going to let it cook on setup for, I don't know, I'm going to go eat something and then we'll see what it does. But I'm not. And that red gun is just, there's nothing there. I mean, there's a little bit there. That's how strong the red gun is. Yeah, it's toast. And let me just get this out of the way right now. You cannot rejuvenate Trinitron tubes. The answer is no. Everybody says you do that. Even the old TV veterans, you do that, you make them worse. Now what we might be able to do is up the filament voltage a little bit. Sometimes there's a resistor on here you can bypass, a really low value resistor like 3 or 4 ohms. And then what we could also do is we could also wrap another loop around the flyback and put it, because the 6.3 volts for the heater comes from the flyback. So we could cut the wire going to the flyback and put a winding or two around the core here, and to add, you know, another couple volts to the CRT. But it doesn't seem like even if we were to do that, even let's say we were to bring it up to, that's about 8 volts. Even at 8 volts, it's still dead. This should have everything almost up at the top of the green. Look at the red. That's the red, even at 8 volts. There's no hope here. I'm going to let it sit. It's been cooking at about almost 8 volts for probably 5 or 8, 10 minutes now. And it's still just as dead as it was before. I mean, it is dead. So somebody got their money's worth out of this thing. I don't know what these were good for in 1980. 50, 100,000 hours? I don't know, a long time. This is when CRTs really started to get good. I'm going to resolder this. I'll go over the solder joints on this and then we'll power it up. Could be a bad cap too down here, very likely. We'll see if we could get it to work. It's not worth investing any time or effort into. It's going to make a very, very, very dim picture, if at all. I mean, the red, there probably will be no red. There is no red emissions. It'll be a purple, purpley green power up time. Let's see what happens. Well, that's interesting. Is it just instantly shutting off? Yeah, it powers up and then it instantly shuts off. I'm going to power it up again. I don't think that would have anything to do with the CRT, would it? It couldn't detect it that fast. It has to give it time to warm up. No. So it's obviously cutting off on some type of over voltage or safety or X-ray or... Yeah, keep doing it over and over and over again. That ought to make it work, right? It's weird as the light stays on. I don't know, would a capacitor cause that? I guess maybe it could. So you mean to tell me they were still watching this thing with that dead of a CRT when something else failed that took it out and then they replaced it? Really? They let it go? Because usually when the CRT is that dead, that's the reason why it was retired. But this thing, they were still using it. I'm going to run over a bunch of these electrolytics with the ESR meter. On the secondary of the flyback, you can see here it comes off the secondary of the flyback. There's your diode right there, your rectifier diode, and then there's your filter. We have one here, rectifier diode, then it comes down to here, then there's your filter for that one. We want to check all these capacitors that are low microfarad high voltage. I don't know if they would actually cause it to do this, but it's always capacitors, right? This is the first one I found that was dead. And this is a 33 at 160. That's a big one. That's this one right here is dead. This one right here is dead. 4.7. Maybe it's cutting off because the vertical is not starting. There's no vertical deflection. Some of these things had protection where if you lost vertical, it wouldn't just burn the tube. It would shut the power off. And that's this section right here that's inside these lines. And all of these capacitors are bad. They're all really high ESR. I mean, just look at that right there. Baked. Juicy. I changed that one. Let's see what happens here. Power. Yeah, well, okay, so I take my statement back on having an automatic shutoff for vertical deflection, but there you go, there is no vertical deflection. Well, there's a little bit. About 5 millimeters. And there it is exactly. It's a greenish blue. Boy, did I get that right. Out of all the capacitors that are dead, I picked the first one I picked got it to start. So should I try and get the vertical to work a little bit so we can watch some TV? Maybe do an EOL with this thing. I changed those two. They were both 47 at... what is this? 47 at 35. They're now 47 at 200. I'm just trying to temporarily make this work. That IC had gotten red hot in just the time we had run it. So I don't know. Maybe the IC is damaged from running it with bad capacitors. We're going to find out. Yeah, no change. I have a feeling the vertical deflection IC is dead. Yeah, it's already hot, like really hot. I changed this 22. It's reading up, about 15 ohms, which I don't know if that's going to cause it, but I just stuck another 47 at 160 in there. See what happens. I don't have a lot of hope for this. No. Nope, no vertical deflection. In fact, it even seems worse now. Ooh, just turned from blue to green. Seems worse now than when we started. Ooh, it's getting darker green. Huh. I don't think that's an original part. Wouldn't Sony have used a Sony branded IC? Didn't they make their own stuff? UPC 1368 or 1868. I might have to dig out the SAMs on this thing, which is like 19 in the 1900 series. Well, I checked all these capacitors and I replaced... I took them out of circuit and checked them for leakage and you know, and these are real low. This is like a 0.22. This is like a quarter of a microfarad. This is a half. This is a 0.47. And so Yeah, I think it's probably the IC. I sent Jordan Peer a message because he's much more familiar with this era of Trinitron and this set in general, and he asked me if the IC still gets hot with the yoke attached. So I unplugged this. This looks like it takes the vertical portion of the yoke out of circuit. And yes, it still gets hot. I don't think I can run this. Oh, what the hell, I can try it with the yoke unplugged all the way. I got everything except red and blue. I got red and blue connected. I got yellow out of circuit there. So red and blue is, and yes, it's still getting hot as hell. So I guess that was to check and see if there were shorted windings in the yoke, but I wouldn't suspect that on this era of set. Okay, this chip is available really cheap, like 12 bucks for two. And I think it's worth it to resurrect the TV. Like I said, I'm going to get the wheelbarrow out here. I'm going for that 30 million views to help spice up this channel. I guess I need a Chinese motorcycle. I don't have a river here. I need to put it down by the river. And then roll the wheelbarrow down and roll it in here on my motorcycle. And then I'd be right there. That's what the algorithm likes. It likes that phony crap. Or it likes the crap where they put a magnet on a spark plug with a coil and a motor, and it's a perpetual motion generating thing. That's what YouTube likes. They like that practical stuff. I went out to the garage and dug out the SAMs and photographed the schematic here. So this is I guess the main IC, and then the signal comes out right here into the UPC 1368. And this is the other part of the UPC 1368. Then it drives the, wow, 54 volt pulse there. So it drives that out into the yoke, and then it comes over from there over this way into the pin cushion. We don't care about that, but it comes down here and then back around on this line 105 to, that's a feedback loop, I guess, of some type. The 220 picofarad, we don't care about that. Then it comes over here to the 33, to the 560, then to 1 ohm to ground. I guess if that 1 ohm was open, but I don't think that'd cause it to get hot. So yeah, basically it's just a big loop, and then this is feedback. So would we have that pulse here without the IC working? Would this thing generate a pulse? They just call that sync. So maybe it's not worth putting a scope on that. There's a chassis out of the set, or the circuit board, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to try and get that IC. Hopefully we get this thing resurrected. And I went through this circuit and I tested all the capacitors with the M tester for ESR capacitance leakage. They're all good. I replaced them all with just good used capacitors. Checked those. Everything's good. Here are the 4 that were bad. I got the IC on the way. We're going to get this thing working. I hope the tuner and everything is working. That'd be a bummer to get the deflection working in something else. That probably is an original chip, because if you look at these, they have the same kind of UPC numbering on them. So I'm going to guess, I thought Sony made their own chips and put Sony on them. So we got that on the way. I think we'll get this working, and then we'll do an EOL, and it'll be a little bit of a different EOL, because I want to keep this board because I have another one of these sets somewhere. The 2 new ICs have arrived, vertical output ICs. I'm going to use compressed air to get this off of here. I really don't care about it. If I make a mess, I'll clean it up. Yeah, we'll pop a new IC in it. I got to find my heatsink compound, my zinc grease. I found the appropriate heatsink grease here. Zinc heatsink silicone grease. I don't like buying electronic components off the internet because you never know if they're counterfeit, but I don't think China would have the motivation to counterfeit a vertical deflection IC for a 50-year-old television. I could be wrong, but it looks pretty legit, and I know that really doesn't mean anything, but is this a date code at the bottom? K1801A. I don't know. Anyway, let's get it lubed up and put on there. Reinstalled, and we'll see if the set works. This is the new one on the heatsink. Just doing some kind of quick comparative tests on diode check, which applies 2 or 3 volts to a resistor and measures the drop. So between pins 1 and 3 on the new one, we have basically half a volt, 0.564. Between pins 1 and 3 on the old one, we essentially have a short, 0.019. Essentially, they all kind of look the same, measuring from pin 1. I guess I could try measuring from pin 3 to other pins. No, you know what? I'm just going to put it in. The odds are it's going to fix it. We obviously got some kind of short in there. Chassis is reinstalled. New vertical output IC. You can see the thermal heatsink compound there looking good for the EOL, all dialed in. Let's see if that actually fixed it. It did. We have vertical deflection now. Boy, is that a dim, poor picture. I have a quick unboxing we can do. This comes from viewer Clayton. Thank you very much. We'll use a Phillips screwdriver because that's what we have here to open it. This should be a new old stock in the box leader pattern generator, LCG 395. I have one. I use it quite a bit. Can never have too many pattern generators. Oh, I love the old, this is awesome, the old early Japanese stuff, or with the string that holds the this is a thing of beauty right here. Wow, look at this. Still got all the cables. Absolutely magnificent. Let me get it out. I saw something else too. Actually, I stand corrected. I do not have this model. I have the bigger, fatter model, and then I have the huge one. This is interesting. Color, raster, staircase, window, convergence, and then gun killer, red off, blue off, green off. I'm very curious to see what these patterns look like window and crosshatch is probably, convergence is probably crosshatch. And this has a video out, a trigger out, 300 ohm and 75 ohm. Okay, let's see what other goodies we have here. Let's see. I should have drug out a tripod. still in anti-mosquito mode. Admiral Corporation. It is a Monarch volt ohm meter, not a VTVM. It's good for checking low impedance, low resistance circuits because these put kind of a heavy load on stuff. Batteries, voltages, this is cool. I'll have to use this. It's very classy. It's Bakelite. It's got a little chip there, but it's sort of classy. Elegant. Very elegant. Let's see what the other thing was. OMGS. Oh my God. See? I don't know. We need to assign something to the S to make this modern for today's emoji meme world. OMGS. 10 transistor radio. Another one of these with a bunch of frivolous transistors in it, used as diodes and shorted. And wow, look at the resistors in this. Anyway, definitely love transistor radios. We'll have to resurrect this and fix this up and get this working good. It's very cool. Look at that badge on there. Very cool. So thank you very much, Clayton. I am going to put this stuff to the side for now, and let's get that leader hooked up to our Sony here. This generator has several different features that I'm not used to on my leader. First of all, channel 5, 6 versus 3, 4, and it's got a video IF. I'm assuming that's what that is. And then we have RF level, and we have brightness. So let me fire it up and see if I can get it dialed in on the Trinitron with the dead tube here. We'll do channel 5. I hope the capacitors are okay in this. Well, these are some very cool patterns. Look at this pattern with the sight, scope sight thing in the middle. That is very cool. So that's convergence. Oh, that's window. Well, look at the pin cushion on this thing. Bad capacitors in the pin cushion on this TV. We don't care about that. Okay, staircase, we know what that is. Raster, we know what that is. Color. There is no color. Something. Well, something failed here. Ooh, look at that. This was broken. I did not break this. Okay, well, we need to do something with that for the EOL. Permatex Ultra Gray. I don't know. I don't know, but I know this. You can't let solid state sets arc like that. It's still hissing. Shit. It's not one thing, it's another. See, I was trying to do color, but I didn't get there. I'm going to try and adjust the scoily spoilers in here. Hopefully it doesn't start arcing again. I really don't know what color means on this, so I'm not going to screw with it. I went and got my liter generator. I think we're on borrowed time with this TV starting to arc and blow up, and I really want to get this EOL out of it. So let's see what we get with the color on this one. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means. I got to read the instructions. And yeah, there. Oh, you know what? Maybe the color is turned way down. There appears to be no color on this set. Okay, yes, there is color. Boy, is the pin cushion horrific. Look at this. Look at the smearing. Color bright hue. Okay, this is hue. The pin cushion is epic. Check out the pin cushion. And the smearing, look at the smearing in the color. It's just picture. God, this thing has a lot of hours on it. Picture. Okay, that's all the way up. Look at the smearing right there. See that? God, it sounds like it's about to start arcing again. Okay, so here's color on this new liter. And boy, those are interesting color bars. So I guess this means this one should be green, this one should be full green, this one should be full blue, and that one that goes all the way to the bottom should be full red. Just the CRT is so damn dead. I hope we can get an EOL out of this. It might not happen. I adjusted the pin cushion amplitude and got it as straight as I could. It's still not great. There's probably a bad electrolytic in here somewhere. I thought I checked them, but maybe not. I cranked the screen all the way up. I cranked the red all the way up. I got it as best I could. It's really, really tired. So here's the objective. I don't usually do EOLs like this, but in this case I want to keep this chassis because I have another one of these sets that won't power up, and I'm hoping the CRT is in better shape, but I have no use for this CRT. So here's the plan. I'm going to run the EOL, video it, stop the cameras, pull the guts out, and then EOL the set. So hopefully there will be this, the cut will be so brief you won't really notice it, but I'm going to come back after we run the clip. I'm gonna try and get the yoke, the high voltage, the chassis, the tuner, the resistors, the speaker, the whole thing. I'm gonna unbolt as much of it as I can beforehand. That way I can just pull it out, EOL it, and keep the good parts for another set. This might brighten it up a little bit, huh? I want this Sony logo off of here because these fall off of a lot of sets. Ooh, boy, is that hot. Here's what we ended up with. So, check out the facial expressions this gal makes. They're absolutely brilliant. I now present to you, it's for the greater good.
We need you to stay in your home for a couple weeks. It's for the greater good. We need you to close your business just for a short time. It's for the greater good. We need you to stay home just a little bit longer than 2 weeks. It's for the greater good. We need you to wear this on your face. It's for the greater good. We need you to wear 2 of these on your face. It's for the greater good. We need you to inject this into your body. It's for the greater good. We need you to spend the holidays alone. It's for the greater good. You must inject this into your body if you want to feed your family. It's for the greater good. We need you to stop eating that. It's not good for the environment. It's for the greater good. We need you to stop driving your car and flying. It's for the greater good. We need you to stop heating your home so often. It's for the greater good. We need you to stop saying that. It's hurting some people's feelings. This is for the greater good. We need you to stop having children. It's not good for the planet. This is for the greater good. We need you to stop talking about your faith. It's offending people. This is for the greater good. We need to separate you from your children because you're not complying. This is for the greater good. We need to hold you in a facility for a little while for not cooperating. This is for the greater good. 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 This is for the greater good.
If you've never seen a Trinitron shadow mask, there it is.
These wires that make up the shadow mask have to be kept stretched extremely tight, like a piano wire. That's why this thing has this extremely robust, hardcore metal frame. The regular style CRT just has a plate with a whole bunch of holes in it. Here's a look at the electron emitting assembly. Those right there are the 3 little holes that the 3 different colored electrons squirt out of. And the part that goes bad, we should disassemble this. So those 3 little wires right there are the cathode connections that break off. The electron emitting surface, the part that would need to be replaced, is right what you see covering these holes on the bottom. And it tends to burn off in the middle first. That's what cutoff is about. That's what checking the cutoff is, to see how evenly burned off. I don't want to see how far we can zoom in on this. And you can actually see that it's burned off more in the middle than the outside. There's your heater. There's your heated cathode tube. There's your cathode weld right there. Right there, that weld onto the tube. When we talk about heater, the cathode weld breaking, I know this is hard to hold this still. These actually look like they have two welds onto the tube. See that? The Trinitron has two welds for reliability. It's connected in two spots. Ceramic coated filament lead, so when you get a heater to cathode short, it's that white substance on the filament that fails and allows the wire inside to touch the tube. But on the front of those tubes is a little button, and that button is what emits the electrons and burns off. Give you an idea how small this is. That's how small that is.